ironically, that's a business that bridges the gap between education, enterprise, and employability as well. Yeah, you'll learn this in sales, that you just cheat things from other people and replicate yourself, basically. A little bit about myself. I'm a serial businessman. I am not an entrepreneur. I'll tell you why. I accidentally fell into it after I got made redundant in 2009. I've started and scaled several businesses. One got sold to a little man called James Khan. Another one got sold in the health and fitness industry. Some of you, who plays football? Anyone play football? Anyone watch football? You see those colourful straps that they all wear? Introduced those products into the UK in 2010. Ended up going on to sell 1.6 million rolls in the first year of trading. What could I say? I've supported the launch of about 2,000 companies in the startup. I've raised about 16 million in capital for businesses on startup and growth accelerating. I'm keen as a strategist and a brand expert, so one of the other masterclasses I've done in the past is Master Marketing, which kind of links on to Sales Mastery. There are some information bits there if you want to connect with me. I'll have them up at the end. It's a fairly informal kind of event, so if you feel like you've got to ask me questions, as long as it's not what are the colour of my pants and what's my favourite food, you can ask as we go along. Don't have to wait to the end. Just, you know, if you've got a burning question. Alarm's already gone off once. I think it might go off again. We have to leave the building. Exits are here, here, here. Okay? Enough of that. So we are here to talk about sales. And before I go into the sales cycle, how many of you started a company already or a business? Quick show of hands. Good. Excellent. Doing sales? Going okay? Hitting the wall? Need some inspiration? How many of you thinking about starting a business? Quick show of hands. Okay. Good. Well, the first thing that I need to talk to you about is the sales cycle. And you may have seen this in business studies, but the principle remains the same whether you're in the classroom or in practice. The sales cycle actually starts with these 4 key areas: attention, interest, conviction, and action. And some of this you may know already. You may know all of it, but what's important is when you're actually trying to apply your sales strategies, it's so easy for you to overcompensate in one area and forget about doing the other. And we tend to focus a lot on these 2 here, which is interest and conviction. Whereas the first thing you actually need to do is work around actually bringing attention to who you are and what your product is. So there are various different ways of doing that, and that's normally where your marketing strategy is built in. So, you know, who your perfect customer is, where they hang out, what do they do, how much they earn, why do they buy your product, and then looking at the communication that attracts attention. This is what advertising does. This is what those car adverts do these days. It's amazing how everything actually is there to pin your attention to one thing to another. So, you know, one 30-second advert actually has 6 or 7 hidden messages built into it to actually attract the attention of so many different groups. Whether it's having Bluetooth and sat-nav in your car, right the way through to a HPI 7.7 check or whatever they call it these days. It all appeals and attracts attention to different people. Once you've attracted the attention, it's then engaging their interest. Why? Why are they looking at you? What is it about you and your business that they're looking at? Is it the fact that it's you behind the helm? Some people choose to fly Virgin because it's Richard Branson, not because it's Virgin. Others choose to fly Virgin because they think it's a cool brand and they're the rock stars of, in-air entertainment and stuff like this. I mean, do you know one of these new, what Branson's doing for his new first class? Have you guys heard? They're putting glass ceilings onto the floor, which means that in first class, when you walk from the toilet back to your seat, it looks like you're walking on air. Huh. Who on earth's going to do, I mean, they do these crazy things to attract new people. And this is the other side of interest. It's actually engaging and opening up a market that perhaps you, or a sector, or a particular number of group of people that you traditionally would not go for. Conviction. What does conviction mean? The conviction part of this is to actually really engage the customer into that, or the consumer into the thought that I know who that is now, I can see what they're trying to offer me, but this is why I need to buy this product. This is why I need this. There was a program actually on 2 days ago, quite late at night, and it was about the healthcare industry. I don't know if anyone caught it on BBC Two, but how these men sell to you or make you spend your money. Who knows what a statin is? Does anyone know what a statin is? Does anyone know what cholesterol is? Yeah? Yeah? Does everyone know what cholesterol is?
Yeah.
Yeah? Let me tell you something. From 1991 to 2002, there was a series of products that got introduced to the market called statins, which are supposed to help you lower your cholesterol or manage your cholesterol. If I tell you 56% of those products are actually duds, didn't mean anything, but these guys created a $36 billion market out of using attention, interest, and conviction. And what they did is they actually put out this stuff that, how important is your heart to you? The importance of cholesterol. They gauged the fact that if you do not manage this cholesterol, it can lead to heart disease. And then they introduced this little tablet that you can buy on prescription or get on prescription from the GPs. What I'm going to come back to in this period is you've got to create, when you get to conviction and action, a process which is emotively making the customer buy for a reason that keeps them sort of entertained. So ladies, I pick on you guys always with the shoes. You know, it's the fact that, you know, they sit there, they trial them, they look at them and say, my bum look big in this and all this kind of stuff, basically. But you are actually in the interest conviction phase. When you've purchased those shoes, when you've taken action, there is a reason why you took that action. Is it because of the colour? Is it because no one else in your friend circle has that? Is it the fact that, you know, those are the killer shoes that you've always wanted, even though you can't walk in them? The fact of it is, everyone buys or purchases for their own reason. And for you as a business, you need to understand what those reasons are. Because each of those will have their own little story attached to them. Each of them will have their own little pain points attached to them. Each of them will have their own wow moment. Lads, when you get a new car, what do? You put it on Facebook and tell the whole world, yeah, look, I just got my sick VW, whatever it is that you got. What are you doing? You're expressing it out. You're looking for recognition, which is appeasing the conviction of why you bought the car in the first place. You really need to start studying the psychology of sales. Sales is nothing else but psychology. And this is how the funnel works. The interest is always, the attention and the interest always comes right at the top. You know, how many of you are on Facebook? Quick show of hands. Don't lie, you all are on Facebook, I know. But you get sponsored ads. Eventually, at one moment in time, at one purpose, whether you're bored, whether you've seen that advert so many times, you'll click the opt-in button on that advert. And that's where the attention and the funnel starts. What happens is we measure, we push out into the mainstream with attention. We then have to gauge interest, and interest is gauged in so many different ways, as I've said before. Once you have the interest, it's actually getting them motivated to buy. And that's where your upselling starts to happen. This is where you start to talk about the value of your product, not the features and not the benefits. You don't talk fabs, because fabs don't sell anything. It's the value to you. So sir, let me sell you an umbrella. Why? Because it's raining outside and this will keep you dry. It's not a feature or a benefit, it's the value of having the umbrella. It's what conviction does. Conviction also builds desire, something that people can't have. How many of you have an Apple product? Notorious for conviction and desire. What did they used to do before Samsung kind of elbowed a little bit of their share? They used to create these anticipated launches, and they used to have some silly people hanging around or camping outside their shops for this stuff. They just kept drawing out all of this kind of stuff to create this, it's almost here, it's almost here, it's almost here, so I want it, I want it, I want it. And then all of a sudden it just goes like wildfire. It started to break down when Samsung came out with their competitive products. Apple started to see that their launches of new products wasn't creating as much of a backorder or a demand. That's because Samsung were taking part of their conviction out and making people desire their product a lot more. You have to, your consumer has to feel that they want this, otherwise they won't buy it. And if they do buy it, and if it's a repeat product, and you haven't followed that attention to desire model, what's the chances of them buying again? Now, some of you are starting a business from scratch. You've got to go through the market, you've got to get, you've got to highlight your customers, your short, your medium, your long-term prospects, and then you've got to start pitching, you've got to start selling. How many, and be honest, how many of you are scared to go out and sell your product or service? Quick show of hands. Okay. All right, I'm going to ask the audience here, why are you scared? You don't have to put your hand up, just throw out the answers. What's making you scared? The fact that you've got to stand in front of someone? What's making you scared?
Rejection.
Rejection, that's a good one. What else? The fear of rejection. What's the next one?
Ignorance of the sales process.
Sorry?
Ignorance of the sales process.
Okay, so you're scared to go out and sell there because you think that you may not know the whole process. Okay, that's cool. What else?
I'm worried I've got the target audience wrong. I've targeted the wrong people.
Okay, so you're thinking I might be trying to sell ice to Eskimos when they've got a lot of it around them, basically. Okay.
Fear of looking stupid.
Fear of looking stupid. Okay, I do that all the time. So okay.
Struggling to close.
Okay, so you think you could take them through a process, but when you get down to the end and saying, will you buy? You're scared to ask that one last question. Okay.
I'm afraid that I'll waste that first impression, and if I don't have the right script, I'll, ruin that opportunity and perhaps, damage my reputation with other potential customers.
So you're thinking your fear is on the domino effect of you get it wrong once, and it's going to have a catastrophic effect on
with
the rest of your
that person and across the industry.
Okay, all right. We'll come back to you on that one. That was an interesting one. Yep.
Well, I'll have a new product which I'll have invested quite a bit into. So I guess I'll be scared that the sales I expected might not materialise.
Okay, so you've already got this fear that you've put so much time, blood, sweat, and money into something, and it's not about making the sales, but it's are you going to make enough to even just cover the cost of all that time, effort, money, and stuff
Yeah,
like that?
it'll be like a viable
All right.
business.
Okay.
In terms of selling services, fear that misestimating what I can do and then selling too much, and then fear of selling too much and then not being able to deliver, even though.
Okay. Yeah, I've done that before. You hear that whole terminology, your eyes bigger than your belly. I've done that. I've let my mouth go off there and my products are going off that way, basically. And then I'm like, oh, shizzle, I've got that one wrong. A lot of what you guys have a fear of is a natural part and parcel of the process. You can never become a perfect salesperson from day one. In fact, those that go on The Apprentice are all trained to sell before they get on. And even then, they get it wrong. Even Lord Sugar gets it wrong. Even everyone gets it wrong to a certain point. You've got to think to yourself, yes, it is about, sometimes it's about impressions that count. But sometimes out of negative PR, you can make some very good PR as well. Because you know what? If you're on the way down, there's only one way you can go, which is up. Okay? Perception is what you guys are doing. You're very, very perceptional. And this is what your customers are. And if you have a negative perception about what you're doing, what do you think your customers are going to have?
Negative perception.
Because they'll only mirror what you're giving them.